Hey folks, this video is going to be super quick, so if you actually are slowly enjoying the content, give a like, consider subscribing, and this video today is going to be about, I just want to get, some feedback for the viewers, if you have any ideas on specific things that I should react to, just pop it in the comments. I'll read those comments and I'll consider doing different reactions. Now I have a few other things that are in mind other than obviously dating advice. It's just, some things could be regular everyday instances, just whatever that it could be. I'm experienced when it comes to hunting, so I might do some hunting reaction videos. Most of the stuff that I do is a lot of like Reddit reviews and like whatever that they like to talk about or whatever. Again, I use empathy and I like to put myself in that person's shoes. The what if, what would I do in their situation. It's worked out for me, for a very, very long time. The one thing that my father taught me at a very, very young age, when problem solving, put yourself in their shoes. So for this video, I can basically just tell you a little bit of advice that my parents actually gave me. Again, like my dad, he kind of taught me throughout life, just put yourself in that person's shoes, son. And I literally took that to heart. I thought of it, when people would ask me different scenarios and stuff like that. I would literally flat out say to them, I'd be like, well, let's see, if I was in your shoes, this is what I would do. And I would just pace through the steps. And, I've got to meet a lot of interesting people over my course of my lifetime. And, I got to give advice. I'm by far, I don't have a PhD in it or anything like that. I'm definitely not a therapist. I'm not a doctor, don't have a doctorate degree or nothing like that. I'm just a regular guy that just, when people ask me for advice, I try to the best of my ability to give them that advice. Whether it's financial advice. Now I'm not licensed when it comes to financial advice or anything like that. I just tell people what I, am currently doing, what's working out for me, and hopefully they can take little tidbits and stuff. I also follow different channels that have to do with financing, different strategies and everything like that. I also follow the MGTOW community. If you don't know what the MGTOW community is, it's basically men going their own way. That doesn't necessarily mean that, I hate women and this and that. No, it doesn't mean that one bit. I absolutely love women. It's just the way it is. It's just I understand where certain things come from when it comes to that type of community. If you look at, just an example, if you look at the statistics when it comes to divorces, 80% of divorces are actually initiated by women. If you don't believe me, look it up. Also, usually the courts, they're always, going after the guys when it comes to things. The reason why a lot of men nowadays don't want to get married is simply because they know that, all that the woman has to do is basically say, I don't love this person anymore, and off to the races, and before you know it, the woman ends up getting half or more of the person's assets, and basically pretty much everything that the guy pretty much worked for basically goes down the drain. I seen it pretty much firsthand in my own parents. To give you a little bit of a background of what I've went through. my parents, they split when I was 16 years old. And, you know, it's kind of hard for me to talk about a little bit on certain things, but sometimes I get emotional, you know. And that's another thing, you know. A lot of guys are always saying, "Oh, don't show emotion. Don't show emotion. Don't you dare cry in front of cameras or in front of women or this or that. Oh, that makes you less of a man." No, it doesn't. Believe it or not, women actually do like a guy that can show a little bit of emotion. Just don't overly do it. You know, that's the thing. There's a time and a place for that. You know, when it comes to certain things. Um, but yeah, to get back to, you know, my parents splitting up when I was 16 years old. I mean, in a way, I was kind of fortunate enough. I mean, I grew up as an only child, so you know, I got to see little bits and pieces of what my mom and dad were going through. My mom ended up cheating on my dad. Um, Again, you know, to give a little bit of a backstory, my father, uh, he wasn't like every other father out there. My father, he when I was 4 years old, and I can clearly remember this. It's actually one of my first memories that I can remember back to. I remember being in, it's like, well, you figure I was born in 81, so about like 84ish, 85ish, something like that. I remember being in one of those like cribs where it has the bars around it, like the old school style, and it has like the top that you know, like if you were really like Mission Impossible style, I mean, you can basically kind of finagle your way up over the bars and free yourself. I actually did that a couple times when I was younger, and I clearly remember that too. But when I was four, roughly five-ish, my dad, he used to be a truck driver for a place called General Battery, and it's no longer there, so that's why I can kind of give the name away. It's, you know, they're not gonna like, if they see this video, they're not gonna be like, hey, you know, you mentioned us, blah 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 blah. It, the place doesn't exist anymore. It actually became another battery company, and you know, even then, the battery company that it transferred into, eventually they ended up kind of going under anyway, and so that just kind of fell apart. But that's beside the point. So my daddy was a truck driver. He would actually, you know, truck all around the United States. I mean, East Coast, West Coast, North, South. He's been all over the place. As I as I was growing up, he was telling me stories of like some of the things he's seen. Like, oh, well, you should have seen. Like, I was at this one truck stop, and all of a sudden the clouds started getting really dark, and he heard over a couple of the other truck drivers. They're saying, "Oh yeah, there's supposed to be tornadoes and this and that." Well, I remember this one time my dad, he told me, he was like, "Yeah, he was in the middle of eating there and everything like that, and all of a sudden the clouds got really, really dark." And he kind of like figured, he's like, "Wait a second, you know, this isn't right." Well, here he actually, I don't know how, I can only just picture it, but he evidently was trying to outrun a tornado. I mean, if you can believe that, I mean, it's like something out of like the Twister movie, which is, I mean, I can only imagine him trying to haul, you know, a bunch of batteries and, you know, all different types of like gadgets and stuff like that, you know, doing his thing and trying to outrun a tornado. Pretty funny. So, but yeah, my dad, when I was 4 or 5, he injured himself pretty good, to the point where he had to get back surgery. And so back then, you really didn't have to sign any disclosure agreements like you have to now. Like if you're going in the ER and, you know, your family or whatever goes in and they have to sign a waiver saying, oh, well, blah 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 blah. so they don't get sued. If something bad happens, it's just the way it is. It is what it is. But um, back then, they didn't really do that. From my understanding, at least from what my dad told me, they didn't, do that. So anyway, when he was on the operating table, they cut his back. Well, they first did X-rays and stuff like that, and they found out that his discs were literally like they were like compacted a little bit, and they were kind of just like distorted and like shifted a little bit. So a lot of like some of his plates were actually just like it just evidently didn't look good. I mean, I never seen the uh, the X-rays on it, but or at least I don't remember the X-rays. I'm sure when I went to like my dad's daily checkups as a kid, I'm pretty sure the doctor, popped up the X-rays and stuff like that. But I just don't remember that. So, but yeah, my dad, while in the hospital, they ended up giving him staph infection. Yeah, yeah. My dad ended up getting staph infection due to doctors. Go figure. So I didn't really have a dad growing up where we could actually play ball, run around and this and that because when he was in the hospital and everything like that and he was trying to recover, um, he lost a feeling in his one, or actually at first it was in his both of his legs, so he couldn't really walk properly. It took a little bit, but eventually he started gaining feeling in his one side, but not the other. So for the whole entire remainder of his life, he actually walked around with a cane. I mean, he had one of those like braces on, so that way it kind of aligns the back and everything like that. And when me and my dad we would go to play catch and stuff, he he would stand there and we'd toss the ball back and forth. That's pretty much it. I didn't have a dad that could run around and do those kind of things. So I mean, growing up, I had a decent childhood. My parents always want what's best for their kids, and I was very very fortunate to have parents that could they did what they could. Um, my mom, on the other hand, I think back to the original, the reason why my parents split. I think, well, actually, the reason why I think my mom cheated on my dad with a good friend of my dad, by the way, which I mean, it's screwed up, but um, both my parents are currently they passed away. Um, my mom, she passed away on Christmas Day of 2012. Yeah. So I don't celebrate Christmas. I guess you can imagine why. So yeah, it's pretty hard. Every time that the time of year comes by, I try to cope as best as I can. It's hard sometimes. I'm sure there's people out there that are watching this that might relate or know someone that can relate. Again, if you feel that you want to share this video to whoever, that might be going through it or has gone through it, I'm sure they can extremely relate. So I don't even celebrate Christmas anymore. And it used to be one of my favorite holidays. There was a time when my family, when we got together, my parents knew how to party. Yeah. So anyway, my dad, he passed away 2 years ago, April. 2 years ago, April. So, yeah, 40 years old, and both my parents gone. at least I was blessed to have them for as long as I did. There's always a positive in everything. It's just you gotta find it. Uh, but anyway, my mom, she ended up cheating on my dad. Now I know I'm kind of like going all over the place, but then again, like I said, when I get talking, it's just this is what I do. Um, well, my parents, while they were getting splitting up and everything like that, the way the arrangements were, I was still in high school, so I graduated in 2000. Yeah, millennial. All right, who can say all right? Graduated 2000, pretty cool. Uh, and it's funny because 2001, the kids there, they're like, oh yeah, we're the start of the new. Uh no, no, 2000. That's the start of it. Sorry, 2001 beat you to it. So, so but yeah, my parents, they when they split up when I was 16, the arrangements was on the weekdays, when I would have to go to school, I would actually spend time at my dad's place, which my dad ended up getting a house, and basically my dad kind of prepared like crazy when it came to the divorce. I mean, for however he did it, I mean, he had like a private investigator, like pretty much follow my mom for what my dad said. He found like evidence out, of her cheating on him, and it was a bunch of stuff. I mean, it was like video and all kinds of. It's pretty crazy. So, but yeah, I would spend the weekdays with my dad, my birthplace, that the house, and it was kind of more convenient for me because high school actually was only 2 blocks away from where I lived, so I literally would walk to school every day. Uh, and then on weekends, I would go into which eventually became my house, which eventually I sold, and that's why I'm here now in Houston. So yeah. But anyway, that was my mom's house, and again, when she passed away, in her will, I got the house, and yeah. Sorry, I'm just thinking. Miss them. It's just the way it is. I miss them. I think about them every day, both of them. Uh, my mom, she's buried back in Pennsylvania. My dad, he got cremated before I left Pennsylvania. My stepmom. We had one final, kind of like celebration of me, shooing off to, here in the fourth largest city, um, just to basically start my whole new life. Just a whole new life. Um, but yeah, my stepmom, she asked me to come out to her her SUV. After we ate and everything like that, we were at a local diner, and it was her sister, and me. So she asked me to come out, and she said, "I have something. I have to give you something." So I'm like, "Oh, okay." She was like, don't just consider it as a going away present, but it's. I know you've been asking for it, and so um, but yeah, my stepmom, she ended up evidently separating some of my dad's ashes and put them in a little tin can. It's like the old tin cans. I guess it's like tobacco or something like that. Evidently, from what she said the little tobacco can was actually my grandfather's, my dad's dad, and so she told me, she's like, well, I want you to have something that kind of can remind you not only of your dad but also my grandfather. So, it was nice. So she ended up handing me this little bag. It's a little purple bag, and she's like, "Yeah, he's in a little bag and everything like that. In this little can and stuff like that. A little tin." So she ended up scooping some of his ashes and putting them in there, and so I have a part of them. Hopefully, it's a good part. But you know, um, yeah. So that's just a little bit about me. Again, if you like some of the content that I am producing, hopefully, subscribe, like, share it with others. Um, One of the biggest pieces of advice that I can give to people that have gone through what I've gone through is, one, don't give up. Keep moving forward. It's okay every once in a while to look in the past, to look in that rearview mirror, but don't let it be the focus. Don't. You have to think of the here and now. You have to keep moving forward. That's I as far as another word of advice for the people that actually have lost a loved one that they cared extremely about. And this is what I said at my dad's funeral, and I'm willing to share it with whoever's listening, whoever's watching. The big things that they've done for you in your life, they're special. But it's the small things. It's the small things. It could be the smallest thing. It could be them trying to take care of you when you're sick. It could be you asking that particular person for advice. It could be them making a special meal for you. In this case, the reason why I say this is when my mom passed away, I had that realization. It didn't fully kick in yet at the time. After my mom passed, I was still shocked because she passed away of cancer. It was at the bottom of her esophagus, and the doctor said it started to spread to her liver. So, yeah. To get in detail, that's for another video if you decide that you just want to listen in on it. But there's a little bit to it. But anyway, I remember, as I always did, because after I ended up graduating and everything like that from high school, I actually moved in with my mom for a little bit, and her boyfriend, that was the same guy that my mom cheated. Me and him kind of didn't get along. It was like a yay or nay type situation. It's just the way it is. But over time, we started to respect each other to a certain extent. He got a little bit better over time. It took a while, but anyway, I remember after my mom passed away, I would, like, if I had a question or something like that, I would, come down the steps real quick, and I'd go down the steps, make that corner, and go in the kitchen, and I might ask, hey, do you know where this is or that or whatever, whatever. But the main reason why I'm saying don't take the little things for granted, when you go down the steps and you're not thinking anything of it, it's like it's totally oblivious of you, and you're thinking of a question, like in my instance, and you go into the kitchen and you realize they're not there. It's sad. It hits you really hard. It really does. Yeah. I'm trying to really hard hold my tears back, because, yeah, it's part of life. I understand that, but that's why when I said at my dad's funeral, his wake and everything, don't take the little things for granted. Those are the most important. They're extremely the most important thing. Even if you had a falling out with whoever, a loved one, someone who's close to you, it's always those little things. That's one of the reasons why I've always said forgive. Always forgive. Don't hold grudges. It's not worth it. It really isn't. I'm a Scorpio. Scorpios are known to hold grudges, and I used to. It's not worth it. My dad, he had a saying, and it's learn to forgive, but never forget. So hopefully you can take this advice. I have a lot of battle scars and a lot of experience on a lot of different things. A lot of sad things that happened in my life, which eventually over time I'll share. But yeah, I know this video is like super long right now, and I'm sure you're probably wanting to say, yeah, okay, enough is enough. So if you're interested in knowing a little bit more about me, just type in the comments, what you would be, what do you want to know, and I'll try to share my experiences. I think that's a good topic. I mean, what better way to get to know me than, on YouTube? I don't care if people know who I am. I'm trying to get out there anyway. So, yeah. After I get off here, I'm probably going to have a small little cry. I think about him every day. So, until next time, alright, I hope you enjoyed the content. Again, like I said, this is probably like the fourth, fifth time. If you like the content, my advice, share it with your friends. If you consider, subscribing to my channel, hit that like button on the way out. I really would appreciate it. And to all the other content creators, hopefully they end up following me as well and they can give me feedback. But then again, like I said, I don't edit my videos. That's just how it is. I like to be genuine. I like to do things organically. Alright. Until next time. See you.